Good afternoon. Thank you, Jeff and Merrill, for your kind words. And most importantly, thank you for your strong leadership. Your work matters, and I want you to know that our community is stronger because of you. I bring heartfelt regards from my wife, Lori, Pennsylvania's First Lady, and an honorary member of the Tree of Life Board. We're so thankful to be joined today by all of you, and I want to give special thanks that we are joined today by the nation's second gentleman, Doug Emhoff. Thank you for being with us. As you heard, there has been strong support from all across the elected community. I'm especially grateful today to be joined by our Lieutenant Governor, Austin Davis, our senior senator, Bob Casey, and so many elected leaders who join us today, including our county executive and our mayor. It's an honor to be here with all of you as we continue to mourn the lives of the 11 sons and daughters of parents and grandparents, family members, and dear friends who were murdered here on October 27th, 2018. And we join today to recommit ourselves to ensuring that their memory and the memory of that day will never be forgotten. We are blessed to be in the presence of the loved ones that they leave behind and those who survived that fateful day. I have been humbled to walk alongside you in this journey, to listen to your stories, to share in a small way in your grief, and now to be able to look forward to our shared future. I know that it has been a long and difficult process to reach this day. From the trauma of that October morning, to the trial, to the daily reminders that our friends and family members are no longer with us. There has been pain at seemingly every point along the way. I remember walking into the JCC on that October afternoon as the sun began to set on that tragic fall day, and seeing family members whose lives had just been shattered as they were coming to grips with the fact that their loved ones would not be coming home from a shul. We still feel that pain today. But I also remember when the sun finally set that day and a chilly mist began to fall upon Squirrel Hill. At the corner of Forbes and Murray, hundreds of our neighbors came together, holding hands, locking arms, comforting one another, declaring with one voice that we would not let hate and anti-Semitism permeate and further infect this loving community. Jew and Muslim, Christian, black, white, Asian, Latino, gay, and straight, a cross-section of our community. Everyone was there, grieving together, but also finding strength in one another. That was an incredibly powerful moment, one that continues to inspire me, and I submit, one that defines all of us. More recently, as your governor, I came back here to bear witness to the attack. I brought our college-age daughter, Sophia, with me that day because the responsibility to remember must be passed down from generation to generation, Lidor Vador. Everything had been left in there seemingly as it was on October 27th. The bullet-riddled bima that our beloved rabbi spoke from and prayed from and sang from. The artwork created by the kids in school from 2018 still on the walls. The narrow escape path that Rabbi Myers and others took, which allowed them to bear witness to the attack and do the work that continues to this day. Now, More than 5 years since the deadliest act of anti-Semitism in our nation's history, each of us has a responsibility to continue to share the stories of that day, of the people we lost, and of the resilience that followed. That responsibility, well, that's especially important at this particular moment. Far too many people in today's world either ignore or fail to learn from the atrocities of the past. Some even seem hell-bent on repeating them. But it's on all of us to remember our shared history, to learn from it, and to show others, to channel that spirit from Forbes and Murray that night and carry it forward. The Talmud teaches us that no one is required to complete the task, but neither are we free to refrain from it. That each of us has a responsibility to do our part. In this case, our responsibility to remember. But hear me on this. Remembrance cannot be a passive act. The task of remembering requires all of us to stand up, to speak out, and to ensure that everyone in this country knows the stories of the 11 people who were murdered here and the dangers of anti-Semitism which fueled that hate crime. It's on each of us to do our part, to speak and act with moral clarity, to speak out and combat hate wherever we find it, online, on our campuses, or in our communities. We must break that cycle of hate and prevent it from taking hold in more people and bringing about even more grief. The work is not reserved for those on television, for those who occupy positions of elected public trust. No, that work falls to each and every one of us to build that community that is more tolerant. This new building that will rise here, well, that reminds us of our personal responsibility. And it will give us the tools to do the tikkun olam, the work of repairing the world. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has and will continue to invest in this place of worship, remembrance, and education. Let me explain why. Because this is a debt that we owe to the 11 people whose lives were cut short while they davened here. It is also because in this Commonwealth, we all have a shared responsibility that stretches back to the year 1681, when our charter was given to William Penn, who sought to build a community that was welcoming to people of all faiths and all backgrounds. A place that Penn envisioned where we could worship freely without fear. The work that began here 343 years ago is ongoing, and it will be strengthened by this new tree of life. Let this sacred place and its halls be an integral part of that 3 centuries years work and the antidote to the poison of hate that grips too many corners of our society. Let this be a place where individuals find strength to bolster the collective and to root out evil. I know this is a difficult time in America, on college campuses and in our town squares. Anti-Semitism is rising, and some leaders, at times, offer permission slips to hate. Here on this sacred ground, we should learn the lessons of the past and develop the tools to speak up and build safer communities for all. Those who come here will no doubt find inspiration in the stories that all of you share. After all, it is you who declared that evening and in the days that followed that we are stronger than hate. It was you who made clear that we would rebuild. It was you who kept it going, who stood proudly through all the challenges, and who persevered. Because of your strength, we come together today to break ground on this extraordinary place, a physical monument to your dedication and to their memories. Through it all, you are the ones who are giving hope in this moment of challenge. You are the ones who are showing all of us the way. And you are the ones who are helping us make progress in this Commonwealth and this country. And so, while we no doubt feel sadness as we reflect on how our lives were changed here nearly 6 years ago, and we anguish as we deal with some current events, let us also not lose sight of your strength, and let us also not lose sight of the progress we have made in this Commonwealth, founded by Penn, bearing the scars of the deadliest act of anti-Semitism in our nation's history. I stand before you today, the 48th governor of this great Commonwealth, a proud Pennsylvanian and a proud American of Jewish faith. When I took the oath of office in January 2023, I swore the oath on 3 Bibles: a family Bible, the second one carried by a World War II veteran, an American Jew who earned a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart on D-Day, and the third one, a Bible lent to me by Rabbi Myers from this shul that was used on October 27th, a Bible that sits on my desk in the Capitol to this day. In a way, I am proof that the people of Pennsylvania can indeed find light in the midst of darkness, that we will not be defined by our darkest hour, but rather how we come together to comfort one another in these moments and to shine light. And so, as we move forward here, my bracha, my prayer for the Tree of Life is that this be a place of light and enlightenment, that it teach all who come here how to embrace who we are, not to retreat from our identity, to show the strength that that young woman showed in the video of how proud she is to be a Jew, and that we remember our shared history, that we pass it down to our children and our grandchildren, that we collectively speak out against hatred and bigotry in all forms, and we continue the hard and necessary work of fulfilling Penn's promise to build a Commonwealth and a country where all are welcome, where we speak and act with moral clarity. I will continue to endeavor to do my part as your governor to honor the work that Carol and others are doing here. The spirit that was awakened that night on the corner of Forbes and Murray, it is that spirit that is now going to help us write this next chapter. The spirit that will no doubt be in the walls of this new foundation. To the good people of Pittsburgh, thank you for showing all of us that we are stronger than hate. To the families who continue to bear the burden of empty seats at your table, Lori and I offer our prayers of comfort and support on behalf of our entire Commonwealth. May the memories of Joyce, Richard, Rose, Jerry, Cecil, David, Bernice, Sylvan, Daniel, Melvin, and Irving forever be a blessing. Thank you.